A celebrity Apex cruise to the Caribbean turned into a crazy Newfoundland kitchen party this month when hundreds of Newfoundlanders ended up booked on the same ship. Joining me now is Lynn Randall. She was one of the Newfoundlanders on the cruise and survived it and is here now to tell us about it. I think, did you survive it? I'm not sure.
Just barely.
How was that? There was 500 Newfoundlanders on this cruise?
I have no idea. It must have been a big sale or something, but it was crazy. It was crazy. I found out about just before Christmas that there was going to be about 500 Newfoundlanders, and we're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And so yeah, it was great. It was great seeing a bunch of Newfoundlanders on the same cruise.
What was it like? Did they kind of turn it into a little bit of the Rock offshore?
Yes, absolutely. It was so wonderful to see, like every time you would go anywhere, especially in the elevators, you know, somebody would say, oh, what floor are you going on? You say, oh, 7. And they're like, oh, what part of Newfoundland are you from? And if we had our flags, like everyone had flags. So, of course, if they saw your flag on the beach chair, they're like, everyone would stop and say, oh, what part of Newfoundland are you from? You can always hear different dialects, because there's so many different dialects in Newfoundland, and it was just so wonderful to hear because we recognize every dialect in Newfoundland.
I didn't know. I've always thought of the Newfoundland dialect, but yeah, you can actually place where people are from.
Absolutely.
So did you run into anybody you weren't expecting to run into, but they were on the ship with you?
Yes. Well, I found out back in January that a friend of mine, she contacted me and she said, are you going to be on the Celebrity Apex, you know, on April the 6th to the 13th? And I said, yes. Now, I haven't seen this friend in years because I used to live on the east coast of the island, and now I live on the west coast of the island. So I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. And she said, oh my God, I'm going to be on the same cruise. So that was great. Then a week before I left, I found out that my cousin, who's from here, but lives in New Brunswick, she was going to be on the cruise. And then the first night, we were on the dance floor at the Martini Bar, and some woman just turned me around and she goes, Lynn! And I'm like, Julian! So it was great.
So Newfoundland's a big place, but it's not that big a place.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, we've got a population of over 500,000 people. So, you know, it was pretty cool running into people that you knew.
Now, did everybody set up their own little place, like with St. John's in one spot? You had Joe Bat's Arm in another. And...
Well, there was a lot of people that were grouped together, of course. And but I mean, you always talk to everybody, you know.
And did anybody kiss the cod? Did you have other? Because there were other people on the ship. It must have been crazy for them to walk in and go, "Where are we?"
Yeah. I didn't see a codfish anywhere. I saw a fish on the menu, but not a codfish. I don't think.
What was it like for the people though that weren't part of the Newfoundland crew?
I think a lot of people wanted a little piece of us, because I've noticed that over the years. You meet people that's not from Newfoundland and they're very interested in us. I don't know if they're interested in just our ways and our accent or whatnot, but it seems like everyone wants a piece of us. And we did meet a couple who wanted their picture taken with every Newfoundlander that was on the cruise ship.
All right. Well, before we go, are you planning a reunion tour next year or in 25 years?
I have no idea. I mean, I was on the cruise with 7 other people because it was we booked it a year and a half ago, and it was my cousin's 50th birthday this year. So she had a bunch of friends that grew up in our community of Gillams. I have to note, Gillams on the west coast of the island. So anyway, yeah, we booked this a year and a half ago, and it was so nice to get together. So you never know. You never know.
All right. Now, do you have the Gillams accent, or can you do a Gillams accent?
Well, see, I lived everywhere. I lived in Halifax. I lived in out on the East Coast in Conception Bay South, and now I'm back here in Steadybrook, which is just outside of Corner Brook, which is about half an hour from Gillams. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what accent I have, but I know it's a Newfie accent.
All right, Lynn. Well, thank you very much for joining us and sharing the great experience you guys had. Much appreciated.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.